The envelope sat on my desk, innocent and ordinary. Inside was the car title for a brand new BMW, delivered to my apartment by mistake. I opened it absently while reviewing scholarship applications, then froze when I saw my name printed as the registered owner. Except I didn't own a BMW. I drove a 12-year-old Honda with a broken air conditioner. I read the document 3 times. Vehicle owner, Riley Patterson. Purchase price, $47,000. Payment method, wire transfer from Patterson Family Education Trust. My college fund. The money my grandparents had left specifically for my education. Gone. Used to buy a luxury car I'd never seen, registered in my name without my knowledge. My hands shook as I pulled up my bank account. The education trust that should have contained $50,000 showed a balance of $3,000. Nearly everything was gone, transferred out 6 weeks ago. I called the bank immediately. The representative confirmed what I already suspected. The transfer was authorized by Jordan Patterson, the secondary account holder. Would you like me to send you the transaction details? Jordan. My older brother. The golden child who'd always gotten everything he wanted while I worked 2 jobs to save for college. He'd stolen my future to buy a car. For his fiancée. I drove to Jordan's apartment that evening, the car title clutched in my hand. My brother lived in a trendy downtown loft our parents helped him afford, the kind of place I could never dream of renting on my salary as a barista. He answered the door in expensive loungewear, a glass of wine in his hand. Riley. What a surprise. Come in, come in. I pushed past him into the apartment. Want to explain this? I held up the title. He glanced at it, and something flickered across his face. Not guilt. Annoyance. Like I was being inconvenient by discovering his theft. Oh, that. Yeah, I meant to mention it. You meant to mention stealing my college fund? Jordan laughed, actually laughed. Come on, don't be dramatic. I borrowed it. Temporarily. Vanessa really wanted a nice car, and you know how important first impressions are in her social circle. You spent $47,000 of my money on a car for your fiancé? It's not like you need it right now. You're working, right? You can save up again. Besides, the title's in your name for tax purposes. Lower insurance rate for a young female driver. I'm actually saving us money. I stared at him, speechless. He genuinely didn't see anything wrong with what he'd done. To Jordan, my college fund was just money sitting there, available for him to use. I left Jordan's apartment without another word. Arguing with him was pointless. He'd spent our entire lives taking what should have been mine, and our parents had always made excuses for him. Jordan, the successful real estate agent. Jordan, the one with the perfect fiancé and the impressive lifestyle. Meanwhile, I was Riley, the backup child, the one who existed to make Jordan look good by comparison. I'd been 12 when our grandparents created the education trust. They'd set up 2 accounts, one for each of us. Jordan had used his entire fund within 2 years, blowing through it on a failed business venture and expensive trips. When his money ran out, he'd simply moved on, supported by our parents who couldn't bear to see their golden boy struggle. My fund had sat untouched. I'd been careful, planning to use it for a 4-year degree at a good university. I'd worked throughout high school to cover my living expenses, saving every penny, preparing for the education that would change my life. Now it was gone. Spent on a car I'd never drive, for a woman I barely knew, by a brother who'd never valued me. I pulled out my phone and took photos of the title from every angle. Then I started researching vehicle ownership laws in our state. If the title was in my name, that meant something. Jordan had made a critical mistake in his theft. I called my parents the next morning, hoping for support. My mother answered on the 3rd ring. Riley. How are you, sweetheart? Not great, Mom. Did you know Jordan spent my college fund on a car? Silence. Then, oh, Jordan mentioned something about that. Honey, don't make a fuss. It's just money. He'll pay you back eventually. Eventually? Mom, I'm supposed to start college in 4 months. That money was for my education. I'm sure you can work it out with your brother. Maybe get some student loans? Lots of kids do that. Lots of kids don't have brothers who steal from them. My mother's voice took on an edge. Riley, don't be dramatic. Jordan made a mistake. He's under a lot of pressure with the wedding coming up. Vanessa's family has expectations, and he was just trying to meet them. What about my expectations? What about my education? You've always been so independent. You'll figure something out. You always do. Translation: Jordan needs help, so you have to sacrifice. The story of my entire childhood, condensed into one phone call. I hung up without saying goodbye. My father would be no better. He'd never contradicted my mother when it came to Jordan's behavior. I was on my own. I'd always been on my own. I spent the next 3 days researching options. Student loans were possible, but the amounts I qualified for wouldn't cover a full degree at the schools I'd been accepted to. Scholarships had deadlines I'd already missed, operating on the assumption I had my trust fund for tuition. But I also researched something else: vehicle ownership and title fraud. What Jordan had done was technically identity fraud. He'd registered a vehicle in my name without my permission, using it to hide the asset from his own financial records. The car was legally mine. Every piece of documentation said so. Jordan was driving around in a vehicle I owned, making me liable for any accidents or tickets, all while my college fund sat converted into German engineering. I could report the car stolen. But that would create family drama I wasn't sure I was ready for. Instead, I needed a subtler approach. I needed to prove I could succeed without my family's support, then reclaim what was rightfully mine when the moment was perfect. I started applying for every scholarship I could find, even ones with long-shot odds. I calculated exactly how much I could earn working full-time through summer. I mapped out a plan that didn't rely on family money or family goodness. Jordan thought he'd won. But he'd made a critical error registering that car in my name. 2 weeks after discovering the theft, I ran into Vanessa at a coffee shop. She was sitting at a corner table, scrolling through her phone, a designer purse on the chair beside her. Riley. She waved me over, genuinely happy to see me. I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? Good. Busy with work and college applications. Jordan mentioned you're starting school soon. That's exciting. She gestured to her purse. Want to see something? Jordan got me the most amazing gift. She pulled out her phone and showed me photos of the BMW. Her BMW. My BMW. The car purchased with my stolen college fund. It's beautiful, right? Jordan said he wanted me to have something special before the wedding. He's so thoughtful. I forced a smile. It's a very nice car. I feel a little guilty, honestly. It's such an expensive gift. But Jordan insisted, said we could afford it. She leaned in conspiratorially. Between you and me, I think he might be overextending himself. He's been stressed about money lately, but he won't talk about it. Interesting. Jordan was already feeling financial pressure, and Vanessa had noticed. I filed this information away for later use. I'm sure he knows what he's doing, I said neutrally. I hope so. His credit card bills have been crazy high. But anyway, you should come over sometime. We can go for a drive in the new car. The irony was almost too much to bear. Family dinner that Sunday was tense. Jordan sat across from me, comfortable and confident, while our parents fawned over his wedding plans. I stayed quiet, observing the dynamics I'd accepted my whole life. Riley, honey, you're so quiet, my mother said. Everything okay? Just thinking about school. Trying to figure out the financial situation. Jordan's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Our eyes met across the table. I'm sure it'll work out, my father said dismissively. You're a smart girl. Maybe consider a state school instead of those expensive private universities. My grandparents' trust was supposed to cover a private university. Well, circumstances change, my mother said quickly. You need to be flexible. Jordan cleared his throat. Speaking of finances, Vanessa and I are looking at houses. Real estate market is crazy right now, but we found this perfect place in Riverside. And just like that, the conversation shifted back to Jordan. His needs, his plans, his perfect life built partially on money stolen from me. I watched my parents light up discussing his future while mine sat in ruins, and something cold settled in my chest. I wasn't angry anymore. I was calculating. Jordan had always underestimated me, and I was going to use that to my advantage. I threw myself into work with new intensity. I picked up extra shifts at the coffee shop and started freelance graphic design work online. Every dollar I earned went into a new savings account, one my family couldn't access. But I also focused on something else, making myself visible. I started posting about my scholarship applications on social media, sharing my acceptance letters to prestigious universities, highlighting my academic achievements. Things Jordan had never bothered to accomplish. My posts got attention. Friends from high school commented congratulations. Teachers I'd had years ago reached out with support. Even distant relatives started noticing my accomplishments. Jordan noticed too. I could see his frustration building every time someone at a family event asked about my plans instead of his wedding. Every time someone mentioned my grades or work ethic, his smile would tighten. Riley's always been so focused, my aunt commented at a barbecue. Unlike some people who coast on natural charm. The dig at Jordan was subtle but unmistakable. He'd been coasting his entire life, and people were starting to notice I'd been working harder with less support. At the office where I worked part-time doing administrative work, my boss pulled me aside. Riley, I'm impressed with your initiative. Have you considered applying for our company's education scholarship? We award 2 students annually. I hadn't known it existed. But I applied that night. 3 weeks later, Jordan called me, his voice tight with forced casualness. Hey, so Vanessa and I are looking at that house in Riverside. The one I mentioned? Okay. It's a great property. Perfect for starting a family. But the down payment is steep, and closing costs are brutal. I said nothing, waiting for him to get to the point. I was thinking, maybe I could borrow a bit more from your trust fund. Just $10,000. I'll pay you back after the wedding when we combine finances. There's only $3,000 left in the account, Jordan. Well, I could take that then. It's not like you're using it right now. The audacity took my breath away. You've already stolen $47,000 from me. You want to take the rest? Borrowed, not stolen. Don't be dramatic. His voice carried the same dismissive tone he'd always used with me. Besides, I'm your brother. Family helps family. Then help me by returning the money you stole. I can't do that right now. It's tied up in the car, and Vanessa loves it. Besides, it's in your name anyway. Technically, you own it. Exactly. I own it. Something in my tone must have registered because Jordan went quiet. Then he laughed, forced and uncertain. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Good luck with the house. I hung up before he could respond. I overheard a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear 2 days later. Vanessa and Jordan were at a restaurant where I'd picked up a serving shift for extra money. They were seated in my section, but they didn't notice me in my uniform, too absorbed in their argument. Jordan, I can't accept this car, Vanessa was saying. It's too much. We can't afford it. We can afford it, Jordan insisted. I told you, it's fine. Your credit card statements say otherwise. You're maxed out on 3 cards. How is that fine? I'll pay them off after we close some deals at work. Real estate is cyclical. This is just a slow period. Vanessa put down her fork. I feel guilty driving something so expensive when you're stressed about money. Maybe we should sell it and use the money for the house down payment. We're not selling it, Jordan said firmly. You deserve nice things. Trust me, okay? But I could see Vanessa wasn't convinced. The guilt I'd seen at the coffee shop had grown into genuine concern. She was uncomfortable with Jordan's spending, and he was too proud to admit he couldn't afford his lifestyle. I filed this information away as I brought their appetizers, invisible to them in my server uniform. The family dynamics shifted subtly over the following weeks. I maintained distance from my parents, declining invitations to dinners and events with polite excuses. Work. School preparations. Scholarship interviews. My mother tried guilt-tripping me back. Riley, you're being difficult. The family misses you. I'm just busy, Mom. Trying to fund my education since my college fund was stolen. Don't start that again. Jordan made a mistake. You need to forgive him. I don't need to do anything except take care of myself. That's what you've always told me, right? That I'm so independent? She had no response to that. My father called once, uncomfortable with emotional conversations as always. Your mother says you're upset about the money situation. I'm not upset. I'm adapting. Finding my own way, like I've always done. That's good. Self-sufficiency is important. But don't burn bridges with your brother over money. I'm not burning bridges, Dad. I'm just stepping back. The distance I created was deliberate. I wanted my family to see how self-sufficient I'd become, how little I needed their approval or support. I wanted Jordan to feel my absence in subtle ways. The breakthrough came 6 weeks after discovering the theft. I'd been working with an attorney, someone a friend recommended who specialized in consumer protection. I explained the situation: vehicle registered in my name without permission, purchased with funds from my trust account. The title being in your name changes everything, the attorney explained. Legally, the vehicle is yours. Your brother is essentially borrowing your property without permission. Can I reclaim it? Absolutely. You can report it as unauthorized use, have it repossessed, or demand payment for his use of your vehicle. She smiled slightly. Since he used your funds to purchase it, you have multiple legal avenues. We filed the paperwork slowly and methodically. Transfer of vehicle ownership fully into my name with all authority. Documentation of the unauthorized fund transfer. A formal demand letter for restitution. I didn't tell Jordan. Not yet. The paperwork would take weeks to process completely, and I wanted everything perfectly legal before making my move. In the meantime, I continued building my alternative path to college. The company scholarship came through, $15,000 toward tuition. I'd won 2 smaller scholarships as well, another $8,000 combined. With my savings and student loans, I could make it work. I didn't need my family's money anymore. But I still wanted what was rightfully mine. Vanessa contacted me privately through social media 2 months after the car purchase. Riley, can we talk? In person? We met at a neutral coffee shop across town. Vanessa looked stressed, her usual polished appearance slightly frayed. I need to ask you something, and please be honest with me, she started. Did Jordan use money that wasn't his to buy my car? I measured my response carefully. What makes you ask that? His finances don't add up. He says he's doing well at work, but his accounts don't reflect that. He's stressed constantly about money, and when I suggested selling the car, he got defensive. She twisted her engagement ring nervously. I found paperwork showing the title is in your name. Why would that be? Jordan said it was for insurance purposes. Was it? I met her eyes. No. Vanessa's face fell. He used your college fund, didn't he? I heard your parents mention it at a family dinner, and Jordan changed the subject quickly. That's where the money came from. Yes. Oh my God. She put her face in her hands. I've been driving around in a car bought with your education money. Riley, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Her genuine distress touched something in me. Vanessa wasn't my enemy. She was another person manipulated by Jordan's selfishness. "It's not your fault," I said quietly. "You didn't know. I need to talk to Jordan about this. This isn't okay." The cracks in Jordan's perfect facade started showing at family gatherings. My parents still tried to guilt me into attending, and I went occasionally, watching the drama unfold from a distance. Jordan and Vanessa's relationship had visible strain. They disagreed about finances openly now. My parents noticed but chalked it up to wedding stress. "All couples go through this before the wedding," my mother assured Jordan at one dinner. "It's normal." But I could see it wasn't normal. It was the beginning of the unraveling I'd been quietly encouraging. Every time Vanessa expressed concerns about money, every time Jordan's credit card bills piled up, every time someone asked about his business performance, the pressure increased. Meanwhile, I'd been accepted to 3 universities and had secured enough scholarship and loan funding to attend my top choice. I posted about it online, and the congratulations poured in. "That's wonderful, Riley," my aunt commented at a birthday party. "You did all that without family help?" "I had to. My college fund was used for other purposes." The statement was neutral, factual. But it carried weight. Family members started asking questions. Why didn't Riley have access to her trust fund? What happened to the money her grandparents left? My parents deflected, but the questions lingered. Jordan's perfect image was developing cracks. The breaking point came 3 months after the car purchase. I was working a shift at the coffee shop when Jordan rushed in, his face panicked. "Riley, we need to talk. Now." "I'm working. This is important." He lowered his voice. "Vanessa is threatening to call off the wedding." "Why?" "She found out about your college fund. About how I bought the car. She's upset, saying I'm financially irresponsible." His voice was desperate. "You need to talk to her. Tell her it's not a big deal, that we're working it out." I wiped down the counter slowly, making him wait. "But we're not working it out, Jordan. You stole my money and haven't paid back a cent." "Borrowed." "I borrowed it. And I will pay you back, I just need time." "How much time?" "Because I start college in 2 months, and I've had to piece together funding from scholarships and loans while you drive around in a car bought with my money." "Please, Riley. She's serious about this. She says she can't marry someone who would steal from his own sister." "Then maybe you shouldn't have stolen from your own sister." Jordan's face flushed red. "You've always been jealous of me. Of my success, my relationship, everything. This is just you trying to ruin my happiness." "I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm just done pretending your behavior is acceptable." He left without ordering coffee, and I watched him go with no satisfaction, just tired certainty that this had been inevitable. Vanessa called me that evening. "I'm leaving him, Riley. I need you to know why." "You don't owe me an explanation." "I do, though. I drove that car for months not knowing what it cost you. Jordan told me tonight that he didn't think I'd find out, that you were too passive to make a fuss." Her voice hardened. "But it's not just about the money. It's about his character. He stole from you and felt entitled to do it. What else would he feel entitled to in our marriage? I'm sorry this happened to you. Don't be. You tried to warn me subtly, and I didn't see it until now." She paused. "I'm giving the car back to Jordan. I can't keep driving it knowing what it represents." "Actually," I said slowly, "legally, the car is mine. The title is in my name, and I own it completely. Jordan has been using my property without permission." Silence. "Then, what are you going to do?" "Reclaim what's mine." The family dinner where I announced my college plans was perfectly timed. Jordan sat across from me, devastated from Vanessa's departure 3 days earlier. My parents were trying to comfort him, reassuring him that she'd come back once she calmed down. "Riley has some good news," my father said half-heartedly, trying to include me in conversation. I got a full-ride scholarship to Northwestern, I said clearly. The company I work for awarded me their education grant, and combined with my other scholarships, I have everything covered. The table went silent. My mother blinked at me. That's wonderful, sweetheart. It is wonderful, my aunt said firmly. Riley did this all herself, with no family help. I'm incredibly proud of her. The implied criticism hung in the air. Jordan's face darkened. Yes, well, Riley's always been good at making herself the victim, he muttered. What did you say? I asked calmly. You heard me. You've been playing the victim for months, making me look bad because I borrowed some money. Now you're rubbing your scholarship in everyone's faces while my life falls apart. Your life is falling apart because of your own choices, Jordan. I didn't steal your money. I didn't lie to your fiancé. I didn't max out credit cards I couldn't afford. You turned Vanessa against me. No. Your behavior did that. Jordan and Vanessa's breakup became official 2 weeks later. The engagement was called off, the wedding deposits lost, and Jordan moved back into my parents' house, unable to afford his apartment alone. I heard about it through family gossip. I didn't reach out to him. Instead, I continued preparing for college, packing my belongings, finishing final shifts at work. The legal paperwork for the car came through completely. I now had full, undisputed ownership with documentation proving Jordan had used my funds without permission. I had everything I needed to reclaim the vehicle. I also learned through my aunt that Jordan's financial situation was worse than anyone knew. He'd been living beyond his means for years, supported by credit and our parents' help. Vanessa's departure had pulled back the curtain on debts he'd hidden. He's asking your parents for money, my aunt told me. $20,000 to cover wedding deposits and credit card bills. Are they giving it to him? Of course they are. They always do. But $20,000 wouldn't be enough to cover what Jordan owed. His house of cards was collapsing, and I hadn't even taken my final step yet. I served Jordan with formal notice 1 month before I left for college. The document was legal, official, and clear. The BMW registered in my name was my property, purchased with my funds. He had 30 days to either purchase the vehicle from me at market value or return it to my possession. He called immediately, furious. You can't do this. I can, actually. It's legally my car. You've been using it without permission. I'll fight this. With what money, Jordan? You're broke. You can't afford an attorney, and any court will see the documentation. The title is in my name, the purchase money came from my trust fund, and you never got my permission. Mom and Dad will help me. Maybe. But that would mean admitting to them what you did. Are you ready for that conversation? Silence. You have 30 days, I said. Either buy the car from me for $47,000, or return it. Your choice. I hung up before he could respond. Jordan tried everything to avoid paying me back. He called repeatedly, alternating between anger and pleading. He tried to get our parents to intervene, but I'd already sent them copies of all the documentation. They couldn't deny the evidence. Riley, please be reasonable, my mother begged. Jordan is going through a hard time. Can't you wait until he's back on his feet? I waited while he spent my college fund. I waited while he lived his perfect life at my expense. I'm done waiting. He's your brother. And I'm your daughter. But you chose him when he stole from me. You chose him when you told me to take out loans instead of demanding he return my money. You chose him every single time. My father tried the stern approach. Riley, family is supposed to support each other. Then he should have supported me by not stealing my education fund. Neither of them had a response to that. Meanwhile, the 30-day deadline approached. Jordan made no move to purchase the car or return it. His pride wouldn't let him admit defeat, even as his financial situation crumbled around him. On day 29, I gave Jordan an ultimatum. We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory, with the legal documents between us. This is your last chance, I said. Tomorrow I'm filing for repossession. You can either pay me the $47,000 you owe me, or you can voluntarily return the car and we can work out a payment plan for the money. I don't have $47,000, Jordan admitted, and for the first time, I saw genuine defeat in his face. I can't even afford the first payment of a payment plan. Then you shouldn't have stolen my money. I thought you'd never find out, he said quietly. Or if you did, that you'd just accept it like you've accepted everything else. You've always been so passive, so willing to fade into the background. I didn't think you'd fight back. That's the problem, Jordan. You never thought I was worth considering. My dreams, my future, my needs. None of it mattered compared to what you wanted. He looked down at the papers. If you repossess the car, I'll have nothing. No transportation, no way to get to work. I'm barely holding on as it is. You should have thought about that before you stole from me. His eyes met mine, and I saw something I'd never seen before, genuine regret. Not for hurting me, but for getting caught. For facing consequences. I won't give you the car, he said finally. Make me. The repossession happened on a Tuesday morning. Jordan had parked the BMW at our parents' house, where he was still living. The tow truck arrived at 7 a.m., before Jordan left for work. I watched from my car as the driver loaded the BMW onto the flatbed. Jordan came running out in his pajamas, shouting. My parents followed, my mother crying, my father trying to reason with the tow truck driver. But the paperwork was legal and clear. The vehicle was registered in my name, Jordan had been notified of repossession, and he had no legal grounds to stop it. The police officer who arrived to mediate confirmed everything. Jordan stood in the driveway in his pajamas, watching his symbol of success roll away on a tow truck. My mother had her arm around him, comforting him. My father looked tired and old, finally seeing his son clearly. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired and sad. This was my family, and we'd reached a point where legal action was necessary to settle what should have been solved with basic respect. I drove away before they could see me. The car would be sold to pay back what Jordan owed me. It wouldn't cover everything, but it was a start. The aftermath was swift and brutal for Jordan. Without the car, his real estate career suffered. He couldn't easily show properties or maintain the successful image he'd cultivated. His credit cards remained maxed out, his debts unpaid. Within 2 months, he'd lost his real estate license due to complaints about missed appointments and unprofessional behavior. Without income, he couldn't afford even basic expenses. My parents supported him, but their resources were limited. I heard about it through my aunt, who'd become my main family contact. Your brother is a mess, Riley. He's completely broken. He did this to himself. I know. Your mother keeps saying you're being cruel, but I told her what you told me. He stole your future, and you're just reclaiming what's yours. Jordan had lost everything. His fiancée, his career, his financial stability, his reputation. All because he'd been too arrogant to respect my boundaries and too entitled to understand consequences. I started college at Northwestern that fall, fully funded through scholarships and my own hard work. My dorm room was small but mine. My classes were challenging but exciting. My future was back on track, built by my own determination. Jordan called me 2 months into my first semester. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity made me pick up. Riley. His voice was small, defeated. I need help. With what? Everything. I have nothing left. No job, no money, no prospects. Mom and Dad can't keep supporting me. I'm about to lose everything. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? You seem pretty happy destroying my life. I didn't destroy your life, Jordan. You did that when you stole from me. I just refuse to be destroyed along with you. I know I messed up. I know I should have asked permission, should have respected your money. But I'm your brother. Doesn't that count for something? I thought about that question. Did family obligation trump personal respect? Did shared blood mean I owed him forgiveness he hadn't earned? You're right that you're my brother, I said finally. But you only remembered that when you needed help. When you were taking my money, when you were building your perfect life, when you were dismissing my dreams as less important than yours, I was just an obstacle to you. Please, Riley. I'll do anything. Get a job. Any job. Start paying back what you owe me in small amounts. Prove you understand what you did wrong. Then maybe we can talk. That's it? That's your advice? That's my boundary. You have only yourself to blame for where you are now. I hung up before he could respond. 2 years into college, I ran into Vanessa at a coffee shop in Chicago. She was there for work, looking professional and confident. We hugged like old friends. How are you? She asked. Good. Really good, actually. Northwestern is amazing. I'm doing great in my classes. I heard you got that scholarship. Congratulations. You earned it. We caught up over coffee. Vanessa had a new job she loved, a new relationship with someone who respected her. She'd moved past Jordan completely. Do you ever regret what happened? She asked. No. Jordan's choices led to consequences. I just stopped enabling him. I heard he's working at a call center now. Your parents cut him off financially after he missed several promised payments to them. Good for them. He needs to learn accountability. Vanessa studied me. You're different from the quiet girl I met at family dinners. Stronger. I always was this strong. I just finally stopped hiding it. We parted with promises to stay in touch. As I walked back to campus, I thought about the journey from discovering that car title to this moment. I'd lost my family's approval but gained self-respect. I'd lost the comfort of their support but gained independence. The college fund Jordan stole had been replaced by scholarships I earned through merit. The car he bought for Vanessa had been sold to partially repay my loss. His perfect life had crumbled while mine flourished. I didn't need revenge. My success, my independence, and my dignity were more powerful than any petty retaliation. Jordan's arrogance had led to his own downfall. I'd simply refused to go down with him. As I entered my dorm building, I felt grateful for that mistakenly delivered car title 2 years ago. It had revealed the truth about my family and given me the push I needed to build a life entirely my own. And that was the best outcome I could have hoped for.